our next sub question, our final one, which is what are the biggest benefits? What are the biggest things to focus on when trying for an agile adoption? So, yeah, first off the bat is disintermediation and getting the team closer to the customer. So what else do we think are high up there on the list?
Building feedback loops as fast as possible. Getting that, I mean, it carries on from what we've been talking about there, is yes, okay, let's get close to the client, but it's also building some regular quick feedback with our customers, so that we're constantly learning about what it is they want, so that we don't misunderstand and we don't produce wasteful activities that don't deliver business value.
Yeah, and I think getting the buy-in from the kind of full stack, as it were, in terms of not just bottom up but top down, a lot of people call it, and I think it's the sort of middle out as well, right? There's a lot of times where you might have executive or high level kind of notional support, but the key is often in the middle, and the middle management who they're not sure of their role in it now, and uncomfortable with change, don't know what it means for them and the implications for them. So, yeah, I think, a lot of people coming to Scrum training is sort of maybe that team lead level or that project manager or something like this. And they're bought into it and that they're really keen for the change. But then it's that their boss or one or two levels of management up who's never been on an agile training course before and really behaving and making decisions out of the traditional management playbook. And a lot of these things that they're doing are completely unintentionally just not aligned with this new agile way of doing things.
And basically we're trying to implement a new system without having the managers of that system aware of what the system is that they're trying to implement. So
yeah, that's right. And I think there's even just a basic awareness that actually this involves you or needs to involve you to be successful. Right? It's not just something that the developers do, and you just continue on as normal. And it's
it's funny. Years ago in management consulting, I was taught that the sort of order of the 3 Ps was always a business to have a purpose first, then process, then people, in order of importance. Because if a business doesn't have a purpose, what's the point? If you don't have a process for people to follow, they'll all end up doing whatever the hell they want to do, and then essentially the people use the process, so they're down at the bottom here. Whereas the world we live in now, process isn't so important, and we're actually trying to cultivate innovation and creativity, and there's not so much sequence going on. And so when we're asking this question about what are the biggest things for me about what to focus on, I actually move people up. I still think purpose is still at the top, because if we don't have a purpose as a business, we've got nothing to shoot for. But when I look at what I need to focus on quite early on, I look at people and the type of people that I need to identify as the people who are going to be the champions for this transformation. I think Rowan talked about it earlier when we spoke about awareness that there's something wrong with what we're doing, and that awareness has got to the point of desiring to change. There will always be people in the organization that aren't quite there yet. We'll get to them, but the important place for me to start is to identify the coaches that are going to help me with that agile adoption. Those people that are already in that headspace, they may not know anything about agile, but they're a good jack of all trades. Their mindset is open. They're in a position where they want to help because they've got that desire to adopt something new, because they're already frustrated with the status quo. For me, if you can start there, or one of the places to start will be there, identifying those people and getting those people through the training mill, on site as coaches, trained up in Scrum, whatever you might need them to do. Having those people aligned is a good place to start. I had a chat with a developer friend of mine the other day, and I said to him, what sort of skills should you look for, in agile team members? What's the most important? I was expecting him to say, a particular language or a particular development methodology, or he said collaboration, communication. Those are the two, and positive attitude. Those were the 3 key skills that he would look for, over and above how good a developer you are, or how good an analyst you are, or how good a tester you are.
Yeah, I have a client who's very big on that in their hiring approach. That it doesn't, if they come across someone who's an absolute rock star who, has a sort of prima donna attitude though about it, and sort of says, I do my own thing my own way kind of thing. They're just totally not interested. Doesn't matter
how hero programmers,
how good a coder they are. That's not the sort of people we're hiring. We're hiring people who play well with others and people who are open to sharing and learning off each other.
It's a team really exercise, not an individual one. Yeah. All right, we're running out of time. That's pretty much it. Any closing statements from any of you? Finish off on. I think we've probably covered off everything we were going to. Actually, we've got
I think so.
We covered off what does a half-hearted agile adoption mean? We did what are the most common agile adoption problems. We moved on to the benefits we could see from a fantastic agile adoption, and we've finished up with the biggest things to focus on when we're trying for an agile adoption. So hopefully everybody that's listened in can go and do an agile adoption transformation without all those coaches.
No.
I think we made that point earlier.
It's always a good idea to have somebody on board who's done it before and point out, hey, you're kind of going through the motions, but have you considered this? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of implications from these ideas, right? That it'll take a lot of learning really, and you can accelerate that process if you bring in someone who's been through it before.
Going back to my driving analogy, would you learn to drive without a driving instructor, or at least somebody sat next to you teaching you how to drive?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Did you do it? Did you learn to drive?
No, I did have an instructor. But before that, actually, my dad sat me in the car and would drive around the garden, going through every gear I could get to in a very short loop. But made me pretty confident with a clutch pretty soon. But anyway, that's doesn't mean I knew what the theory was, or the fact that I shouldn't run over a granny at the zebra crossing.
It's one of these things you got to learn by doing it. It's like riding a bike. You can't read a manual on riding a bike and then suddenly get on it and be an excellent bike rider, isn't it? You've got to learn by doing. So a lot of that comes down to coaching and learning on the job, and having the space and the actual feeling that it's okay to actually spend a bit of time to learn things, and you're not so flat out just doing it the same old way that you don't have time to learn.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. It was a great chat. And
cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Yeah, it's good fun. Cheers.
See you.